Hello again, everybody. I'm Chris Marlowe. We welcome you inside Binion's Horseshoe Hotel and Casino here in downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. A hotel known worldwide as the site of the World Series of Poker. And this year, the drama continues as the world's best poker players compete for its most prestigious title. This is the 22nd annual World Series of Poker. $1 million in $10,000 bills. For over 30 years, this display has been the hallmark of Binion's Horseshoe. And today, one lucky player is going to walk away with a cool million. Anyone can sign up to challenge the best of the best. All you need is a little skill, patience, knowledge, and a little luck to win the prize of a lifetime.
Johnny Moss is going to win the world championship this year.
The entry fee is 10 grand, and it doesn't matter if you're young or old.
Well, I'm a pretty aggressive player. I'm in a lot of hands, and I'm known to be a pretty good no-and player.
But make sure you watch out for some of the sharks.
Well, those that learn to play, the easier and the better living we make.
And some of them even show up in disguise.
This is my financial advisor. I'm not afraid of them. They know it.
Last year's champ flew in weeks ago from Europe to sharpen up.
Now this year, everybody is going to watch every hair that moves in my body.
For this year's War of Champions.
Put a lot of chips into the pot, make them lay down their hands.
Since I turned 16, I've been playing. Johnny's 84 years old. I mean, today's ship doesn't sail on yesterday's wind.
I think I'm the only virgin that hold him in this tournament.
If you bet $1 on me to win, and I win, you can get your own island in the South Pacific. Welcome to the 1991 World Series of Poker. This is for the World Championship. First prize will be $1 million.
For 22 years, the World Series of Poker has attracted the best poker players to the official home of the game, Binion's Horseshoe in downtown Las Vegas. But this year, and for the first time ever, the winner of the 10,000 buy-em, no-limit Texas Hold'em Championship will walk away with $1 million. And there's nothing better than a high-stakes poker game. Even Phil Hellmuth Jr. put in the 10 grand to try to repeat his win of 1989 when he was crowned the youngest ever to win the title. Last year's winner Mansour Matloubi is back to defend his title. So is three-time champion Johnny Moss and the Henri Amarillo Slim Preston who won it in '72.
On anyone that differs with that opinion, I'm not hard to find.
There's also a few two-time champions out to take the biggest payoff ever, including Doyle, Texas Dolly Brunson, the exciting Johnny Chan, who gives a clinic in poker whenever he plays, and the kid, Stu Unger, who is going for a third win.
Not only the $1 million, the publicity that goes along with it, it's the main event of the year for the poker players.
Several talented women also entered so they could face some of the most respected names of the game. But what's so very intriguing is that any one of these 215 people here can win. Stay tuned for all the excitement and find out which one of these great players truly has the ultimate poker face worth $1 million. You know, when the stakes are high and the money is big, you can expect everybody wants a piece of the action, including two of Hollywood's biggest stars. A guy who likes lollipops, who loves you, baby, and a former teacher who just wouldn't give up.
If you win here or come in close here, you can consider yourself a world-class player. That's true no other place in the world except at Binion's.
This is my return, my comeback. I spoke to Jim Palmer and he said, you got to do it, so I'm coming back at 45.
Money and pride always bring back the defending champions, like Mansour Matloubi, who won last year's World Series of Poker.
That final hand is probably the most incredible hand of poker you're going to see at this level. You know, I was winning before the flop, I was winning on the flop, then the next card, I had a 20-1 shot of getting out of it. And then the last card, a miracle happened.
37 years old.
Just a little bit.
The worst thing can possibly happen to anybody is to lose. I won't be surprised if I go out the first day.
The first player to be knocked out lasted only 10 minutes. Many former world champions were eliminated on the first day. Doyle Brunson, the kid Stu Unger, out. Phil Hellmuth Jr., out. and even world-famous Amarillo Slim Preston was a victim of the new gunslingers.
By the third day, you're going to see some heavy emotions.
Mirage Hotel president and 1978 world champion Bobby Baldwin lasted long enough to place 29th. Johnny Chan in the blue sweatsuit was an early victim, along with the Grandmaster Johnny Moss. And Kojak lost, but Telly Savalas did do better than most.
What do you mean we did very well?
We're both broke.
Former champ Puggy Pearson arrived dressed as the Ayatollah to throw off Mansour Matlube, an Iranian-born Englishman. Surprisingly, this stunt may have worked because the Mansour also got knocked out in the first 3 hours, finishing 186th.
Well, it takes a good run to win and a bad run to lose. You're not playing amateurs, you're playing 200 best poker players in the world. They can all play, can all win, all capable. If you're playing with a bunch of schoolboys, okay, it's very difficult to lose.
From 215 players to these 27, who definitely aren't schoolboys. They're the best of the bunch. 3 tables of 9 great players, but only 6 make it to the final championship table. When you go this far, it's even more painful to lose, especially if your name is Hans Tuna Lund and you came so close last year by finishing second.
Well, most people, when they get knocked out, they try to hide it and be good sports, but as soon as they walk away and the camera's off them, they're feeling real bad.
Well, I went out 19th. And to be honest, I'm not real happy about it. Now, I know it's a game of luck and a game of skill. But sometimes the luck is just too strong to overcome. The skill can't overcome it. Right at the moment, I've got a friend in there that's a pretty tough player, Brad Daugherty. And then Don Holt is playing very tough.
And Perry Green also looks tough. Maybe it's because he was taught poker by the Eskimos, trading fur in Alaska for some wise advice.
I want to cash in.
Too bad Gabe Kaplan can't cash in this tournament. You either have to win it all or lose it all by running out of chips.
Got down, got up, went down, got up again, and the last hand I drew out on a couple of times on people, and the last hand somebody drew out on me, brought the king, so that's the way it goes. That's the name of the game.
Very happy to have with me now the president and general manager of Binion's Horseshoe Hotel and Casino and the man who gives away all the money, Jack Binion. And Jack, are you surprised that the tournament has grown so much since 1970?
Oh, naturally. Nobody in their wildest dreams could have dreamed that the poker tournament would have gotten this popular and it would have gotten this big.
Last year you said, I am going to give away $1 million to the winner, and this year you are. How did that promise come about?
Well, I have to plead that it wasn't
insanity.
No, because it wasn't that big a promise. Because last year we had 190 some odd people, and it's grown every year. So naturally, I knew it was going to be big enough to give the $1 million away. And for some reason, let's say that we have a total disaster around here, then I would have been on the hook. So, in truth, it wasn't that big a promise. The poker tournament's the one that made the promise, not me.
Final question, how big can this tournament get? Look 5 or 10 years down the line.
Well, I tell you what, we're looking at it, and I'm saying it's growing between 10 and 15% a year. So you just compound that out because it's done that pretty consistently. Grown at that rate. So it just looks like that's going to be the growth rate for a while.
Jack, congratulations. Another fine tournament. You're making it happen.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we have a lot of fun with it. We're enjoying it.
Jack Binion, the man here at Binion's. And losing means?
I'm going to the showers.
Well, I'll probably go out and jump off a building or something. No, I'm just joking on that.
We'll be right back to Binion's in a minute to show you which 6 players made it to the final table and who'll go home with $1 million in his pocket. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker. Chris Marlowe with poker expert Chip Reese. Chip, Texas Hold'em, a relatively simple game, and yet it's complicated. Explain how the play works.
Okay, Chris. Texas Hold'em is a variation of the popular game 7-card stud, where the best high hand wins the pot. Here's how the game's played. Today we're going to start with a $1,000 ante, where everybody antes $1,000 and the dealer will pull the antes in. At that time, everybody will receive 2 cards, starting with the man to the left of the dealer button. That man is the dealer for this hand, and that button will rotate every deal.
Okay.
We all receive our first 2 cards, And myself, the man to the left of the dealer button, must force it for $2,000 at the start of play today. That's called the small blind.
Okay.
You then, the man to my left, has to put $4,000 in, or double that amount.
Now
That's
this is
the
a
big blind.
mandatory bet.
Absolutely.
I have to put this in, so I'm going to.
Before you even look at your
All
cards.
right. I don't.
Now it's up to Armando. He can either call the 4,000, fold, or raise. He's decided to call. Mark, he's going to take a look at his hand. He's going to fold.
All right. He chickened out.
I'll call the 2,000. Now you can raise if you want to, or you can say deal.
Well, I haven't looked at my cards yet, so I'm going to put it in there.
In the dark.
Yes. A
Okay.
blind bet.
You're going to call in the dark.
Right.
Here we go. Burn a card. Now we're going to turn 3 cards up in the center of the table.
Now this is the flop.
This is called the flop.
Explain.
These are community cards which every player uses along with his own 2 hole cards to form at this time a 5-card poker hand. Since I'm to the left of the dealer button, I must act first. I can either check or bet. I don't have a very good hand, so I'm going to check.
Okay, now if I were to have a good hand, I should bet, right?
Well, a good hand or a bad hand.
All
You're
right.
allowed to bluff in this
I'm going to
game.
bet $4,000.
Okay. It's 4,000 up to you, Armando.
I'm bluffing.
He calls. I'm going to go out.
All right.
Dealer pulls the pot in, burns a card. This is called the turn or 4th street.
Still a community card.
Still
Everybody can use this.
At this point in time,
All
you
right.
each have 6-card poker hands, 4 out there and 2 in your hand. Since you're at the left of the dealer button now, it's your turn to act first.
All right. I'm going to bet $10,000 to you, Armando.
Armando
He's
calls.
staying in, too.
Yeah, he must have a pretty good hand. Let's burn, and we're going to see the last card. Now, this is called the river. Down the river. It's the king of spades. This puts a lot of possibilities out here. Now, this game that we play, Texas Hold'em, is a no-limit game. You can either check, or you could bet from 1 chip up to your whole stack. It's your option.
Now, question, if I bet all my money and Armando does not have enough money to see me, what happens?
Contrary to popular belief, Armando doesn't have to throw his hand away. If he can't cover your bet, he puts all his chips in. You put the amount of chips in to match how many chips you have. Okay. Take your remaining chips back, and you both play for what's in the center of the pot.
All right. I think I have a good hand. I'm going all in. Match it.
He's betting it all, Armando.
All in. Oh.
Armando calls. Okay, let's turn our 2 hole cards up and see what we got.
Ace-high flush.
Chris has the best possible hand you can have in Hold'em.
All right.
There's 3 spades out on the board, and that's called the nuts. In the poker lingo, we call that the best possible hand you can have. Armando had a good hand, too, but it wasn't quite as good as
Now, I
yours.
continue, and Armando goes home.
Yeah, he's history,
And
as
I
we
am
say
the
at the
champion.
poker tournament. That's right. He
I
goes
love
out.
this game.
They won't remember his name next year, but you'll be back.
All right.
See, those chips have no value with me. They're just clay. If that were cash, this tournament would go on forever.
And not only the $1 million, the publicity that goes along with it, it's the main event of the year for the poker players.
We'll have more poker action from Binion's on Prime Network after this. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker here at Binion's Horseshoe Hotel and Casino. I'm Chris Marlowe, very happy to be joined now by a man who was voted 5 times the best poker player in the world by his peers, Chip Reese. And Chip, we're down to the final 6, the final table strategy for these 6 men, early strategy.
Chips play a very important factor here, Chris. I think early on, the players that have the lead with the most chips are going to be a little bit conservative, hoping that the players with least chips are going to knock themselves out. The guys that don't have very much money at the bottom are probably going to have to force the action early in this event.
Guys at the top play conservatively. The guys at the bottom play much more aggressively then.
Absolutely, and the reason for it is the breakdown in prize money. When you get to 3rd and 2nd place, the difference in prize money becomes about $200,000. I think that's a lot of money to anybody.
And first place prize, $1 million, so a big difference between 1st and 2nd.
Absolutely. Thanks to Jack Binion, he guaranteed $1 million in prize money this year, whether he had the money or not. Unfortunately, we had a world record amount of entries.
Out of 215 players, 36 get paid. 6th place, $34,500. 5th, 69 grand. 4th, $115,000. 3rd, $201,250. 2nd, $402,500. And first place, $1 million and the championship gold bracelet. All right, the dealer is set. We are ready to go. Let's get right to the action. In seat number 1, Don Williams comes to the final table with $160,000. He's from right here in Las Vegas. In seat position number 2, Robert Veltri with $475,000. In seat 3, there's Brad Daugherty starting with $240,000. He's a professional gambler by trade. Seat 4, Ali Farsai with $115,000 to work with. Seat 5 from Arizona, Tucson Don Holt, a favorite with $365,000. And from Alaska, Perry Green tries to stake a claim with $200,000. Cards are out, $15,000 in the pot initially.
Oh, yeah.
$1,000 per man is the ante, and a $3,000 and $6,000 blind, a mandatory bet. You can see the dealer button is at Bob Daugherty, so the play will rotate around, and not calling will be
very, very what we call tight play, Chris. Here goes Ali. He's going to make it.
Ali Farside going to go all in once again. So Farside trying to build up his stack of chips.
Ali Farside moves all in.
Looks like he's going to get called. We may have our first casualty. He's calling Ali Farside.
Okay. All right, here comes the flop.
We've got about a $155,000 pot here.
Okay, ace-9, king-jack. So king-jack.
The ace-9 is about a 3-2 favorite, Chris. He's going to win this hand about 60% of the time.
We are ready for the flop. Here we go. 3 common cards. Big play here at Binion's. 6 of diamonds, 3 of hearts, 5 of diamonds. Couple of diamonds, so...
Don's still got the best hand with the ace-9. Ali has to catch a king or a jack at this point to have the best hand.
Okay, getting ready for 4th Street, the 4th common card. 10 of diamonds.
This gives Ali 14 chances to win the hand. He's got to catch 9 diamonds, 3 kings, or 2 jacks.
And 5th Street. Here we go. Ali needs a diamond. And Don Holt wins the hand, and Ali Farside is eliminated. A tremendous tournament for the man from Tehran, Iran. Ali Farside, were you surprised to get to the final table?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised. I've been playing this tournament for last 5 years, you know, I mean, the best finish I had was 10th. But this year, you know, I mean, I came 6th, you know, I mean, and I was very excited and surprised about it.
You played very well, but in the final table, you started with a short stack of chips, so that made it tough on you.
Yeah, right. You know, I had to make a move pretty soon, you know, I mean, in order for me to win.
Yeah.
So I had to, you know, I mean, when I had King Jack, I was pretty much favored to have a best hand against the big blind. But this happened that he had a better hand.
Well, tough luck, but congratulations, $34,000. What are you going to do with the money?
Well, I'm going to be playing poker. I mean, you know, if I would have won it, you know, I would have played higher.
Okay, congratulations.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So Ali Farside finishes in 6th place. He takes home $34,500. And Chip, we're now down to 5 players. Has the game changed much from 6 to 5?
Maybe from a psychological point of view, a few of the players may want to play a little faster, Chris, but there's still a very small amount of money in the pot at the beginning of the hand relative to the $2 million on the table. So they should still play conservatively.
The player with the most money still has a big advantage?
Absolutely, and if you'll notice, the players with the most money tend to dominate the game. They pick up those antes, and they're kind of controlling the action as it goes along.
Okay, 5 players left at the World Series of Poker. We'll continue with the action here from Binion's after this. Welcome back to Binion's Horseshoe. I'm Chris Marlowe along with Chip Reese. We are now down to our final 5 players here at the World Series of Poker. And Chip, perhaps you can give us an idea of the personalities of the 5 that are left. What kind of a game will we see?
What you have here are 5 very experienced tournament players with 5 very different personalities. Don Williams and Bob Beltry I would term as the most creative players still left in the game. Brad Daugherty and Perry are the more solid, tight players in the game. And Don Williams is kind of in between. But at this stage in the game, anybody can snap. Psychologically, anybody could decide to move their chips.
Do you expect aggressive action now or conservative play?
I still anticipate a little bit conservative play. We may have 1 or 2 big pots, but there's not very much money in the beginning of the hand right now. There's only $15,000 and there's $2 million on the table, so they should still play very conservatively.
Okay, 5 are left. Let's get back to the action. Don Holt seems to be in command, chip-wise, confidence-wise. Holt, 64 years old, the oldest competitor in this competition. Been wearing the same pants for 3 days. He's got on his lucky pants. And Perry Green goes all in. So here we go. So two players, Daugherty and Green, are all in. Veltri made the initial bet, and we have a huge hand brewing here.
Perry's got to have a very good hand, Chris, to make this play. We call this coming in cold over the top of the razor.
$305,000 for Perry Green. So Bob Veltri, you're looking at him right there on the Paisley shirt, must call $275,000 to stay in this pot. He opened the betting with $30,000.
He's got to have a pretty good hand to be waiting this long and even thinking about it.
We have had a double knockout before here at the World Series of Poker. And Veltri appearing like he may go in. Appearing like he may go in. And wouldn't this be something? Three players all in at the World Series of Poker. And he's going in. He is going in. Now, Veltri is calling, but he's not all in.
No.
He is calling $275,000.
$781,000 in this pot, Chris. Whoever wins this pot will have a commanding lead.
And here we go with the hands.
Bob Veltri has the best hand right now.
Veltri has a pair of jacks. Ace-king to Brad Daugherty, and a pair of eights to Perry Green.
Perry's in real bad shape right here. Perry's an 8-to-1 underdog to catch an 8 on the flop, and he has to do so to stay alive.
All right, we're waiting the flop. A huge hand, over $700,000 in the pot. Three common cards coming up. The crowd is into it. Possible double knockout on this hand. Here we go, the flop, so important. Ace, queen, 7, and a couple of spades.
Brad Daugherty has caught an ace on the flop. He's an overwhelming favorite to win this pot now. Keep in mind there's a side pot where Bob Veltri is the favorite to win if Perry Green doesn't catch an 8.
4th Street coming up, another common card. Three of spades.
Nobody has a spade in their hand.
What does everybody need now?
Bob needs a jack or Perry needs an 8. Otherwise, Brad Daugherty wins the main pot.
And it's a 3 of clubs. And Brad Daugherty wins the pot. And that eliminates Perry Green from Anchorage, Alaska. And he gets a round of applause. What a hand.
He had a tremendous hand, and he's a tremendous guy. I know how he feels when he gets knocked out of this tournament.
Perry Green, in retrospect, you going all in with a pair of 8s, if you had to do it over again, would you do it the same way?
Sure would. I put him on a hand that was similar to what he had, or very similar to maybe 2 7s, and then I'd be a big favorite, just like I was hoping. Although I got, shall we say, trapped from the rear.
Were you surprised that Bob Veltri had the jacks?
I was surprised that he would even call with the jacks, to be honest with you.
I think everybody was.
Yeah, I think had I had the jacks at this point, I would not want to play against 2 all-in stacks, because what you're doing now, you're really gambling that you almost have to make 3 jacks to win 2 all-in stacks.
Yeah. Perry, Jack McClellan coming in right now to get your payoff, and congratulations on the tournament. I know you wanted to win, but a nice little bonus prize of $69,000 for Perry Green, and maybe next year will be your year.
Thank you very much. It's been fun, and I thought I could do it. I played well yesterday and just didn't catch any cards today. Might have rushed it a little bit. It was fun, though.
Well, tough luck, but we'll see you again next year.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Perry. And so in one of the great hands in World Series of Poker history, Perry Green knocked out in 5th place. Were you surprised at Perry's action?
Actually, Perry made a very good play. He anticipated what Brad Daugherty had. Perry had the best hand. What he didn't anticipate was Bob Veltri had a very good hand right behind him. I think it was a bit of bad luck. He may have moved a little prematurely, but he made the right play because he did have the best hand against Brad with those 2 8s. 4 players left. Don Holt, the leader right now, $700,000. Size up the other players' chip totals. Don Williams has about 325. He's the low man on the totem pole, but by no means out of it. All these chip totals are very close. Bob Veltri's in second with 625, and Brad Daugherty's in third with 500. At this point, anybody can win. All right, 4 to go here at the World Series of Poker. We'll return to Binion's after this. Stay with us.
Chris Marlowe and Chip Reese back at the 22nd Annual World Series of Poker here at Binion's Horseshoe Hotel and Casino. We are now down to 4 players and the action heating up. And Chip, who do you make the favorite right now?
Boy, that's a tough one to call, Chris. They're all very, very good players. And they're all very close in chips. You kind of put me on the spot here.
That's why I'm putting you on the spot.
I think the safest thing I can do here is go with the guys with the money. I think Don Holt and Bob Beltry have the most chips right now, so you have to go with them.
Okay, the 2 players with the most chips, they have the advantage. Action heating up, as I said. Let's get back to it.
And Don Holt going to bet $30,000. $30,000 to Williams. He folds. Beltry says, I'll play. So Holt and Veltri. Over $50,000 in the pot. The flop comes 7 of clubs, Jack of hearts, 10 of diamonds.
Those are very dangerous flop cards, and there's been a bet and a call. Because that 10 Jack can swing either way for low hands or high hands.
4th Street, 9 of spades. $40,000 bet by Bob Veltri. And Holt says, I'll play.
Calls 40,000.
Got about $120,000 pot here, Chris.
And ready for 5th Street. 2 of spades.
No help at all. Whoever had the best hand on 4th Street, chances are he's still got the best hand.
And Veltri now going to make a big bet. $100,000. So $100,000 to Holt.
Don Holt raises $100,000.
And a $100,000 raise. You might have called it, Chip.
$100,000 bet, raise of $100,000.
The chances are Don doesn't just have an 8 or you just called.
You think Holt has the king-queen?
Either the king-queen or the 8-queen.
Veltri shuffling his $100,000 and he's going in.
Veltri calls. Don Holt shows a
And
Jack
Holt
high straight.
has the Jack high straight.
And he wins the hand.
And that will win the pot.
Bob Veltri had 9s and 7s.
And 2 pair for Bob Veltri. So a very tightly contested hand and a big hand for Don Holt.
2 very surprising hands to me. I expected both players to have a better hand in that spot. Yeah, that pot had about $500,000 in it, Chris. Don Holt's now the tournament leader.
Yeah, Don Holt looks good to me. I don't know who his choice is.
Well, I got to go along with him.
I think, of course, I will tell you this, in case Mr. Holt wins it, I'll be in his hometown before he gets back home. I assure you.
And Don Holt is going to play this hand. About $195,000 bet Williams. Don Holt has been the hot player.
Okay, we got $417,000 in the pot.
$417,000 in the pot. Williams, ace-9 suited.
Don Holt has
Ace-10 of diamonds. So a very interesting hand here at Binion's. A confrontation between Don Holt from Tucson, Arizona, and Don Williams, the local favorite here from Las Vegas, Nevada. The flop, 5 of spades, king of diamonds, 10 of clubs.
Don Holt has 2 10s. He's a monstrous favorite right now. The only way Don Williams can win right now is he has to catch 2 running cards to a flush.
So Don Williams in trouble now because obviously an ace comes up. That helps Don Holt in addition to Don Williams.
Don Williams has to catch 2 running 9s or 2 running spades. It's a very big long shot.
So Williams needs a 9 or a spade. A jack of clubs.
Now this is interesting. If a queen would happen to come on the end, he could tie with a queen.
Don Williams still alive. He could split the pot with a queen. 5th Street. It's a 5 of hearts. And Don Holt wins the hand. Don Williams is knocked out in 4th place.
So Don Williams finishes in 4th place. The prize money, $115,000. Not a bad payday, but I'm sure you were hoping for just a little more. What was your thinking going into that final hand?
I was thinking he couldn't have an ace on the button, but he did.
You had ace-9 suited, normally a pretty good hand, but he had just a little better hand.
Well, it's not a big hand unless you catch somebody with a bigger ace suited or a bigger kicker, which I did. And he'd been playing about 3 or 4 pots in a row, so I was down 100 and some thousand in chips. I tried to take it away from him and hope he didn't have an ace. If he didn't, I had a better draw hand than he had.
Now, when you're low on chips, obviously you have to play a little more aggressively, and you did.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do.
Have fun this year?
Oh, yeah, fun every year.
Congratulations. Great finish.
Thank you.
So Don Williams is out. He finishes in 4th place. His prize, $115,000. And ironically, Chip, he was a little lucky earlier. He had 4-8s. No one would take him up on it, but he couldn't catch the big hand when he needed it.
Chris, timing is everything in the World Series of Poker. Don had a great hand, 4-8s. He didn't get any action on that hand. Later on, he couldn't catch any cards, and he was out of the tournament.
Okay, out of 215 players, we are now down to 3. Who will emerge? We'll take a break. Back to Binions after this. Stay with us. Chris Marlowe and Chip Reese back at the World Series of Poker. Only 3 players are left, and now it's strategy time. How do you expect the final 3 to go?
Chris, I look for Brad Daugherty to be playing very solid poker when it's down to 3 players. Bob Beltry and Don Holt, on the other hand, will be playing very aggressively against each other. Something's going to give between those two, and I think it'll be Daugherty and either Holt or Beltry down to the last 2.
All right, the dealer is ready. Let's get right to the action. 3 players left at the World Series of Poker. Bob Beltry, Brad Daugherty, and Don Holt. And Daugherty puts in 10 grand. Holt calls. And we're waiting for Bob Beltry. And Beltry going to move all in. So we have the makings of an interesting little pot here. Daugherty throws his hand away, and so does Holt. So Beltry, perhaps chopping, perhaps...
Just who just makes the right decision at the right time, and who gets lucky. And that'll be the champion.
So Bob Beltry raises $100,000. And now it is up to Brad Daugherty, who must decide whether to stay in. The bet is $130,000 to Brad Daugherty. He's 39 years old, the youngest poker player in the final 3, and Daugherty is going in. So we have the makings of a huge hand here.
This is really a bad break for Bob Beltry.
And Holt says it's too rich for me. And Beltry has to call now because he has too much money in the pot. Waiting for 5th Street. Beltry has King Queen, and Daugherty has King Jack. Bob Beltry needs a jack, or the pot goes to Brad Daugherty.
13 to 100.
A 4. And that is it. As Bob Beltry is knocked out, and doing the knocking is Brad Daugherty. Bob, you seem to be in control of the game until that big $500,000 pot that you lost to Don Holt. That really turned things around.
Yes, it did. I wasn't getting too many hands.
Yeah.
I had to rob quite a few pots. I couldn't find many hands, so I had to work, and that was one of the biggest hands that I got when I got 2 pair. And if he had an 8, he wins the pot, I figured.
The last hand, were you surprised that Daugherty came in behind you?
On this last hand?
Yeah.
Basically, yes, but I couldn't turn the hand down at leaving myself with that many chips. I had to call it. He had to have King Jack. He could have had 2 pair, and I still could have improved.
Bob, congratulations. You played very well, but just weren't lucky today.
Thank you very much.
And now the gold bracelet has been put on the table and the money being doled out. This is what the ultimate goal. $1 million in prize money going to the winning man. He will be the World Series of Poker champion. Bob Beltry wins over $200,000 for finishing 3rd, but Chip Reese, he is going to remember the hand that put him out forever.
We talked about Don Williams and timing in this tournament. Well, Brad Daugherty had timing going for him. Don Holt opened the pot for a small bet. The flop was Queen 10-9. Bob Beltry made a big raise with a King Queen in the pocket. And lo and behold, there sat Brad Daugherty with the nuts. A King Jack, the best possible hand you can have in poker. He moved in and won all the money in that pot.
Okay, Heads Up Poker coming at you after this. Holt and Daugherty. Stay with us. Welcome back to Binya's Horseshoe, the 22nd Annual World Series of Poker. I'm Chris Marlowe, he's Chip Reese, and we have only 2 players left. Don Holt from Tucson, Arizona, and Brad Daugherty from Reno, Nevada. How do you assess this matchup?
Don's got the most chips right now, Chris, and if he sticks to his game plan, not playing any big pots with Brad, he should be all right. However, Brad plays very solid. If Don gets involved and has to play a big pot, he might be in trouble.
Heads up poker, Texas Hold'em here at Binion's. Let's get back to the action.
There are no losers when you come away from this final table.
Both players are in as we await the flop. 3 common cards. Ace of clubs, 7 of diamonds, 4 of hearts.
Brad checks from the first position, representing a pair in the pocket.
So, both players check. We go to 4th Street. It's a 6 of spades.
Here comes Don.
So the bet is matched. And a nice little pot developing as we head to 5th Street. 2 of spades. Check to Holt. Maybe trying to draw Holt in. And they turn him over. Jack 6.
2 6s wins this pot.
So Brad Daugherty wins the pot with a pair of 6s. Okay, the cards are out. Don Holt from Tucson, Arizona, going to call the blind and make a raise.
Looks like he's raised about $35,000.
So $35,000 to Brad Daugherty.
Brad calls.
And Daugherty calls.
$75,000 pot.
$74,000 pot.
Here comes the flop. 9 of spades, 10 of hearts, 6 of diamonds.
Brad checks. There's a possible straight out there if somebody had a 7-8.
Brad checks, Don bets.
And Holt.
120,000. 100,000.
Fat chips. $100,000 is the bet. And Daugherty.
Brad says raise.
And it looks like a raise coming. And it's going to be a healthy one. A $150,000 raise. And Don Holt going all the way in.
All the way.
This could be it right here. Don Holt, white shirt and the sunglasses. And Brad Daugherty in the black sweatsuit. If Brad Daugherty calls the biggest pot in World Series of Poker history, this could be it. Daugherty, originally from Payette, Idaho, a gambler for 18 years and now faced with the biggest decision of his gambling and poker career.
Maybe the biggest decision ever that he'll ever face.
Daugherty and Holt. And he throws it in. So a big, huge bet match. The final pot here at the World Series of Poker.
Don crippled him for over $300,000 on that hand.
2 players remaining from the 215 that started out. And Don Holt in the white golf shirt makes a bet of $30,000. Holt in a commanding position. Over $1.5 million in chips. And Daugherty going to stay in. And move all in. So a big challenge here to Don Holt. Could this be the play at the World Series of Poker? And Holt has a pair of 6s. He showed his hand, which of course really doesn't make much difference at this point, does it, Chip?
Once Brad's all in.
And Holt won't play a pair of 6s. So a very aggressive move out by Brad Daugherty. Once again, the cards go out here at the World Series of Poker. Brad Daugherty in the black and blue sweatsuit. Tucson Don.
Brad Daugherty opens the pot for $35,000, Chris.
And we may have something brewing here. Holt calls. So the pot is right.
$74,000 in the pot.
Waiting for the flop. 5, 4, 6. Straight possibilities.
Not likely with a raised pot. Both players figure to have bigger cards, but you never know. Especially with Tucson Don. He's pretty creative.
3 of clubs on 4th Street. Check by Holt.
Don checks.
And Daugherty now has a decision to make.
They both check. Last card coming.
5th Street. 6 of hearts.
Don looks like he's about to make a very large bet. Appearing to try and drive Brad out of the pot, but it might be reverse psychology.
$180,000 is the bet to Brad Daugherty. Final action. We started today with 6 players. We are down to 2 out of 215.
Brad calls.
And Daugherty calls.
Don shows ace deuce.
He had the straight.
6 high straight.
6 high straight for Holt. And he wins the pot.
Don is playing extremely well. He used the reverse psychology of making a big bet to make Brad think that he was bluffing.
So a huge win. That pot, a big one for Don Holt. $34,000 is the pot to begin with. Don Holt and Brad Daugherty. And Holt going to bet $40,000. And the call is made by Brad Daugherty. So $84,000 in the pot. 4, 5, 10, non-suited on the flop.
No flush draws out there this time. Brad checks.
And Holt going to bet $100,000 at least.
Don bets $100,000.
$100,000 is the bet to Brad Daugherty. Does he have that all-in look? Yes, he does.
He's made his move.
And Holt says yes. He is going all the way.
We have over $1 million pot here, I think, Chris.
Looking for the title. Not
Brad's
only...
got ace-10, 2 10s with an ace.
That's what I thought Brad had. He had an 10 with a big kicker.
Don's got king-10, 2 10s with a king.
Don has to catch a king to win this pot.
Ace-10 for Daugherty, king-10 for Holt. Brad Daugherty has the best hand. There are 2 cards left. 4th Street.
4th card is
a jack.
He's dead to a king now.
He needs the king.
Holt catches a king. He'll be our new world champion.
Holt needs the king. If not, play continues. 9. And Brad Daugherty wins over $1 million in that pot.
It's a new ball game now.
Heads-up competition continues here at Binion's. Don Holt in white. And Brad Daugherty, who was once down to $250,000 in chips and has made an unbelievable comeback. Daugherty raises $70,000, and Holt is going to call.
$184,000 in the pot.
So a nice little wager before the flop, and here we go. 8 of diamonds, 9 of hearts, jack of clubs.
Good gambling cards here. Brad checks.
And Holt is going all in.
Don's going all the way.
That's about $750,000.
Approximately $750,000.
Brad may call. He's asking to count the money.
Now, I'm not sure this bet would force Daugherty to go all in, would it?
No, he would still have some money left if he lost the pot, probably $200,000 or $300,000. He's going to call.
And Daugherty is going to call.
So
Don Holt.
$1,000 pot, and Brad shows in king.
He's wearing his lucky pants, and he'll need him in this one. For 3 days, 7-3.
Don's got a straight draw.
Don was bluffing.
3 hearts. Brad's got 2 jacks.
He's got to catch a 10 or 2 running hearts to win this pot.
4th Street.
He catches a 5. Now this gives Don 8 possible wins to win the pot. He needs a 10 or a 6.
Brad Daugherty on this card could become the World Series of Poker champion.
Don can win with a 10 or a 6.
Don Holt, however, is still alive, waiting for the last and final
to 1
card.
underdog here.
An 8. And Daugherty is the new World Series of Poker champion.
Joining me now, the new World Series of Poker champion, Brad Daugherty. Brad, your thoughts when you were down to $250,000 in chips. You turned it around with a flush hand.
I had a long ways to come back. I knew I had to get it in gear somewhere, find a hand to double up on, and I did. I got lucky.
What changed the tempo? Was it that hand? That seemed to give you a lot of confidence.
It helped to give me twice the amount of chips.
What were you thinking about in the last hand? Replay that last hand in your mind for us.
This one?
Yes.
Well, I just evaluated. I didn't think he had a best he could have was a straight draw.
Did you know he was bluffing?
No, I thought he might have a 10. I was just going to take the gamble.
Brad, congratulations. A tremendous win. You are the World Series of Poker champion.
Thank you.
And, of course, to the victor go the spoils. $1 million in prize money and the gold bracelet signifying there's a new hombre in the town of Las Vegas. For Don Holt, it was a bitter disappointment. The turning point coming on this hand. Daugherty with a pair of 10s and an ace. Holt's second best, a pair of 10s and a king. What about the final play? What was going through the mind of Tucson Don Holt? We asked. The last hand, you got caught bluffing. trying to be more aggressive or just an active of your own kind of play?
No, I was trying to bluff the hand, and I'm still not drawing dead to a 10 or 2 hearts. It wasn't a good move retrospectively, but that's the game. I did a lot of bluffing and got away with it. Sometimes you get caught.
Don, you played a marvelous tourney. Congratulations, and thanks for stopping by.
Can I say one thing?
Absolutely.
I'd like to say that these people, the Binions, put on the finest tournament. They're nice to the poker players, and it's just wonderful to be here.
Great. Well, we appreciated having you here.
Thank you.
We'll hurry back. Yes, I said we'll hurry back with more poker action from Binions after this. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker, and we have a new champion. So Brad Daugherty wins his first major poker title of any kind, and it's a big one. The 1991 World Series of Poker title, and what a comeback he made. He was tenacious.
He sure was, Chris. He was down to the cloth many times, but he waited for the cards to change, and he made the most of it when they did.
Brad Daugherty, the champion, he takes home $1 million. That's our show for today. We hope you enjoyed it. For Chip Reese, I'm Chris Marlowe. The World Series of Poker is now officially closed, but the casino remains open. So long from Binions.